Hi, this is Rachel Miller for RHM Movie and TV Reviews. Today I will be I'll be talking about two shows I really like. One's on Netflix, the other's on Disney Plus. The one on Netflix is Bridgerton. Both shows are actually based on book series, so here we go. The first one I want to talk about is Bridgerton because it's been on longer. It has four seasons, and the fifth season doesn't premiere until next year. So, anyway, as I said, Bridgerton is based on a book series by Julia Quinn. And to repeat what, if you've watched the season one recap, repeating what the actors in that say. The book series and the TV series is about a upper class family, which is the Viscountess Dowager Viscountess. Sorry, it's Lady Bridgerton, Dowager Lady Bridgerton, because years ago her husband had passed away, and you find out in the second season how he passed away, and it was because of a bee sting. Now there are the book the show basically does follow the books in a way. There are real differences, like it includes real life political figures from that time. And Lady Bridgerton has eight children named in alphabetical order. It goes first three are boys, which is Anthony, Benedict, and Colin. Then it's three girls, Daphne, Eloise, and Francesca. Then it's Gregory, and Hyacinth was the last one born. Although when it comes to the books, she is the second to last to get married, and Gregory's the last to get married. Now on the show, I don't know how they're going to do those last two seasons, but who knows? And there is another upper class family that lives across the street from the Bridgertons, is the Featheringtons, who on the show is 3 daughters, and the books is 4 daughters. I like the difference between the show, and the books. The first book is based on the first season is based on the first book, which is The Duke and I. At least I think that is the title of The Duke and I. And the second book is The Viscount Who Loved Me, which I think was a spin on a take on The Spy Who Loved Me, which is a Bond book and movie. Bond movie, anyway. The third one is Romancing Mr. Bridgerton. And that's the fourth book. The third book is An Offer from a Gentleman. And I don't know if these were takes, Julia Quinn's takes on popular titles at the time or not, but Bridgerton, each season has been compared to other stories. First season, I'm not sure what it's been compared to, but I know it is a fake relationship trope. And I gotta say, the first season was very interesting. You actually did get to see Simon's childhood, and the fact that his mother died in childbirth, and the fact that his father didn't really care about him because he didn't speak correctly. Simon had a bit of a stutter when he was a child, but he overcame that stutter. Although in the books, he does have a star in present day, but just very quickly, very short. And I would agree with the Miss Mojo countdown of the Bridgerton couples. I would put Simon and Daphne lower because that relationship just doesn't really work the way it should. Season 2 was based on the Viscount who loved the second book, was just called The Viscount Who Loved Me. And yes, each season of the show actually has the title of the book that's based on as an episode title. The other episode titles I think were just made up on the spot because of the characters. What they are called. Or what they're considered. That first season also introduced the fact that Penelope and Colin have been friends for at least a couple of years now. It also had introduced Lady Whistledown, which is in the book series. And also, you do find out who Lady Whistledown is. Well, the viewers, anyway, the characters on the show don't know until the third season. Or actually, no, correction, not until the second season, where two characters find out who Lady Whistledown is. We, the viewers, actually find out at the end, or towards the end of the first season, who Lady Whistledown is. In the books, you don't find out who Lady Whistledown is until Colin figures it out in the fourth book. And it's Eloise and the Queen Charlotte, who was a real-life political figure at that time, which is the 1800s. And it takes place after the War of 1812, according to American history and British history. I'm sorry, just taking a breath. It's a lot to take in, a lot to say. And the fact that Penelope does try to break up Colin and her cousin, which in the books is actually the Bridgerton's cousin. Maria is a Bridgerton cousin, not a Featherington cousin. On the show, she is a Featherington cousin who just happens to be with child when she arrives in Mayfair or London, whatever you want to call it. And she just gets along with Colin so well. And unfortunately, a little spoiler for the end of season 1, you find out Penelope Featherington is Lady Whistledown. And she does try to tell Colin that, well, Marie doesn't really truly love him. She's in love with somebody else. As Penelope tells Colin in season 3, after he has found out that she is Lady Whistledown, that Colin says, "Oh, you should have told me that she was with somebody else." And it's like, when I heard that, and every time I watch that episode, it's like, come on, she told you that Maria was in love with somebody else. You just didn't listen to her. You didn't care to pay attention to Penelope at that time. You just thought she was being overprotective. In season 2, actually, also in season 1, Anthony does fall in love with an opera singer, or according to that season 1 recap, is a working class girl, but no, she is an opera singer. She is a soprano, which I still find, I like that first season. It gave an interesting aspect. And Eloise was still fine. Nobody know. I still don't understand why she and the Queen were so into trying to find out who Lady Whistledown was within the first 2 seasons. The second season, Anthony and Kate are enemies to lovers. And that second season also introduced us to Eloise having a relationship of her own. Not only was she making her debut into society, but she had a relationship of her own during that time frame. And you get to meet the new Lord Featherington, because like in the books for the first season, Lord Featherington dies because he made a risky gambling decision that got him killed. Now in the second season, you meet the new Lord Featherington, who's just as corrupt as the first Lord Featherington. Penelope's father, just as corrupt as Penelope's father. Her cousin Jack is just as corrupt, but he is a con man, conning people in the town out of their money, just so he can have a better life. And of course, Penelope's mom, actually Lady Featherington, is just as bad. She sees her older 2 daughters, one of her daughters, Philippa, does end up getting married in season 2. And beginning of season 3, you do find out Prudence has married. In season 2, she was supposed to marry Jack Featherington, but she ends up marrying a second or third son. I'm not sure, because they just call him Mr. Dankworth. I'm not sure what kind of son he is. He has to be at least a second son, I think, because Portia Lady Featherington makes it very clear that both Philippa and Prudence married men without titles. That means there's either they're a second and third son, or their fathers were second or third sons. So they don't really have a shot at the title necessarily. But they have shots at another title, and it's not the Featherington title. But back to Anthony and Kate. It is interesting. It does follow the book mostly, but the fact that they changed the last name, Kate's main name, from Sheffield to Sharma, but they do put the Sheffields in there as Kate's stepmother's birth family, her parents, and they talk about Kate's father being a clerk to a royal family in India. And I like the fact that they did add the Sheffields in there just for content's sakes. But it was interesting to see that's the way the second season played out. And I think some people compare that to Pride and Prejudice, but I'm not. I don't know who else would compare it to Pride and Prejudice, but I personally compare Pride and Prejudice because sisters and not really liking each other at the beginning to a point, and being very, well, as I said, Pride and Prejudice, that's all I gotta say. Jane Austen's Pride and Prejudice, that's what I compare it to. And you also find out, well, first season, Benedict's relationships are, I think, turnkey before you get to the fourth season. His season, which is the fourth season. In the first season, he had a relationship with the modiste, Madame de la Croix. And that second season, yeah, she breaks things off with him. And he is an artist, he denies it. And second season, he does go to art school. He does eventually find out who paid for him to go to art school, for him to get accepted into the art school. And Anthony and Kate, the Enemies to Lovers, is interesting because they show the past how Edmund Bridgerton died. It was from a bee sting, a reaction to a bee sting. My guessing from what I've seen of that part of the episode, the flashback is he probably went to, it could have been anaphylactic shock, and because at the time there was no medicine, and they were out in the country, there was no medicine available for somebody to go in anaphylactic shock from a bee sting. Because bee stings, you swell up, and it more than likely gave him a heart attack. It was not, he could barely breathe. It was some kind of allergic, I doubt it was some kind of allergic reaction. He probably just the body went into shock and it killed him. And that left a very pregnant Violet Bridgerton, who was actually pregnant with Hyacinth at the time. And Anthony's reaction to Kate being stung is very interesting. He hyperventilates. He ends up having a panic attack, but Kate ends up calming him down. And there are some instances where you think they're going to kiss, but they're not, or they're going to do something, but they don't. Until it is revealed at his wedding to Edwina that Anthony has feelings for Kate, Kate has feelings for Anthony. And it's more than combative. It's more, they don't really hate each other, they love each other. But it's the fact that you find out in this season that the reason Anthony's never married, never truly fell in love is because his parents had a love match, and he saw his way his mom reacted to when his father passed away. She was sad. She was really, truly depressed after his passing. More depressed after Hyacinth's birth. And clearly, it's something that sometimes you never recover from, is the passing of a loved one. And that's the reason Anthony doesn't want a love match, is because what he saw his parents. He's seen a good love match for his sister Daphne when she married Simon. That was a love match, eventually. Now, third season is interesting. Well, actually, I should mention second season again. There are two times where it is Anthony versus Kate in certain things. The horse races, who bets on which horse, and when they're at Audrey Hall, is a Pall Mall game. It is a cricket-like sport, which I still don't understand it, because I never understood those kinds of games, honestly. With the third season, it was Colin and Penelope, which was friends to lovers, and this relationship has gone since the first season. The first two seasons, they were just friends. Then, spoiler alert, the third season, they become more than friends. And all the time up to, I think, the last two episodes, since then, for the first half of season 3, Eloise hates Penelope because she found out Penelope is a whistledown. Of course, Madame Delacroix found out before Eloise, but Penelope meant that Madame Delacroix had an arrangement after Madame Delacroix found out she was Lady Whistledown. She couldn't do the same thing with her friend Eloise, which Eloise did enter relationship with Theo because of what Penelope wrote as Lady Whistledown. But this show, the books are always everything's so interesting. Colin and Penelope's relationship, I don't know what to compare it to. I don't even know what they compare it to. But I know with the fourth season with Benedict and Sophie. Actually, with Benedict in the third season, he's involved in a relationship with not one, but two people, a man and a woman. They actually started his bisexuality journey in season 3. He found out there were gay people around in the first season. And also, third season and fourth season, also, Francesca found a love match of sorts with John Sterling. In the end of the third season, Francesca meets John's cousin. In the books is Michael Sterling. On the show, I love the creators of the show, the fact that they changed that up. They made it so is Michaela Sterling and not Michael Sterling as John's cousin. And with Benedict and Sophie is a forbidden love trope. And it's not the kind of forbidden love you think it should be, which when people think of forbidden love, we think Romeo and Juliet. There's nothing like that. It is forbidden because he is an upper class gentleman and she is a maid. Also, she's an illegitimate child of a maid and a nobleman. The Earl of Penwood is her father. The late Earl of Penwood, Richard Gunn. Which I still find that interesting, the name too. They also changed Sophie's last name on the show too. In the books, it's Bennett. In the show, it's Beck. Baek. And I think that is how it's pronounced. I'm not sure, but that's how they say it on the show. And this season, even the book has been compared to Cinderella. But I know why. It is actually multiple Cinderella stories. The fact that Sophie leaves behind a glove and not a shoe makes it more a modern day take on Cinderella. And of course, this is a show. This is not a movie. So they pull it out further than it should be. And I think, spoiler alert, it ends the way most of the Disney Cinderella movies ended. Especially the Rodgers and Hammerstein Cinderella. Ends in a wedding for the couple. And I know the 5th season is supposed to be Francesca and Michaela's season, and maybe season 6. And I do hope it is season 6. That is Eloise's season. And there is one part from her book that I would like to see on the show. And that is the scene where she has played a prank on one of Sir Philip's children. Well, on the show, it's his niece and nephew, but technically they are his children when they were his children when they were born. You know, they're really his brother's children. I don't know if they'll add more kids to the mix for him, but I don't think so. But I could be wrong. And the actors that cast in this show is known for other shows and movies. And of course, everybody should know the other show that Nicola Coughlan is known for is Jury Girls, and it is found on Netflix. Believe you me, I've checked it out. I've seen it on Netflix. I have not actually watched the show. But the show I have watched is a show that Simone Ashley, who plays Kate, is on. That's Sex Education, which was very interesting. She was only in the first 2 seasons of the show, but otherwise it was actually very good. And Luke Newton, who plays Colin Bridgerton, was on a show called The Lodge. I think it was Disney Channel UK show called The Lodge, with a guy who did end up going on to be part of the Descendants franchise. Thomas Doherty, I think his name is. He ended up playing Harry Hook in the original Descendants trilogy, Disney Channel's Descendants trilogy. And of course, Jonathan Bailey was on a show before Bridgerton called Fellow Travelers with Matt Boomer. It was on the reboot version of Will and Grace, which I will get to eventually, telling you guys what I think of Will and Grace and Friends. But Jonathan Bailey also has done at least 3 movies that I know of. That's Jurassic World Rebirth and the Wicked movies. And thank you, John Chu. Thank you. Thank you very much for giving us a shirtless Jonathan Bailey scene in Wicked for Good. Alright, now on to Percy Jackson and Olympians. The book series is very interesting, very cool. It has 2 spin-off series. Heroes of Olympus, which is supposed to be the Roman version of the Greek gods. And then there's Trials of Olympus. And of course, Percy Jackson Olympians was originally a 5-book series, but now there's 2 extra books added on. And hopefully they do take a break from the show after season 5. Here, real quick. And as I said, there were 2 books. The first 2 books were made into movies when I talked about book series made into movie series. Now there's a TV series that is on Disney Plus. The first season is based on the first book, The Lightning Thief. And actually, you should know that with the show, each of the episode titles are named after chapter titles in the books. I do suggest read the books first, then watch the show. And the first season, as I said, it's based on The Lightning Thief. If you read the book, you know Percy is accused of stealing Zeus's bolt. And I think they have still yet to cast the god who creates Zeus's bolt. And as far as I know, they have yet to recast the man who plays Zeus in the first 2 seasons of the show, or the first season of the show. Is the actor who played Zeus has passed away. Find it. Lance Reddick, unfortunately, he has passed away. He did such a good job as Zeus. I think it'll be hard for the creators of the show to recast, but I would like to see them at least try. Because, it's the same thing as what happened with a book series that was made into a movie series, the movies. With the Harry Potter franchise, they had to recast Dumbledore after the second movie came out because Richard Harris had passed away. So, who knows if they'll get another actor to play Zeus. I hope they do. Because I would like to see who they get to cast. They play Zeus. The second season is obviously based on the second book, Sea of Monsters. And of course, the third season is going to be based from the teaser trailer that has been released, is going to be based on the third book, which is The Titan's Curse. Means that there's a 4th season and there's a 5th season. I hope there are. They have other characters to cast. Like the other gods. But for right now, they still need, from what I can tell, the cast for the first 2 seasons were very interesting choices. Well, it's more the adults than anything. The adults are known for other things. For example, Lin-Manuel Miranda as the god Hermes, the god of messengers. He is a singer-songwriter, of course. He's written songs for Disney, for Moana, for Encanto, for both, actually for Moana, for the animation, and the live action. There was only one added song for the live action version of Moana. But he also helped co-write new songs for the live action Little Mermaid. He wrote songs for the prequel, I guess you could say, Mufasa, the Lion King. He also starred in Mary Poppins Returns, which I thought, from what I've watched the movie, it is pretty good. Maggie Mullally, as I said, I will talk about Will Grace and Friends on another video. She actually played the teacher who turns into, I'm not sure what Greek monster it is. I'm guessing is Fury of some sort. But I'm not. And the guy they got to play Poseidon, if I am correct, I'm pretty sure I am. Yeah, he played the bad guy in Die Another Day, the James Bond movie Die Another Day. That is a Pierce Brosnan James Bond movie. That was his last one. And I thought that was good. And of course, I had already seen a preview of the cast for the third season. And it seems interesting because I would never think of certain actors to play those roles. But then again, I realized the one guy I have seen in something that is actually, it's not even remotely close to him playing Atlas, but it's a bad guy character. And I do hope when they come to, hopefully they do renew the show for a fourth and fifth season. And maybe someday they can make the spin-off book series into TV series as well. And yes, maybe or maybe not, I will be talking about Friends and Will Grace next. I'll be talking about Disney movies, well, mostly the animal movies, in the next video. This is RHM for RHM Movie Reviews, signing off.